This week's episode, we get photobombed, Renaissance falls over, and I get my acronyms messed up. And this is the bottom line. Where are we anyway?
We are at Flibs, the Oasis Lounge.
Flibs, that's something you catch when you've been working on yachts too long, isn't it?
That and the Fort Lauderdale International
We are at
Boat
the
Show.
Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. I would encourage all of you to come see it, but by the time you see this, it ain't gonna be here anymore.
But wait, if we're at Flibs, how are we gonna upload this video?
Marine Data Solutions.
Mike from Marine Data Solutions is going to be uploading it for us from his equipment that's right here. Isn't that awesome? Thanks, Mike. Yes, we are uploading the show from his equipment, which is live at the boat show. That's insane.
It's great.
No cords.
None needed.
Okay, by the way, I'm going to give you some boat show stats.
You know there's 100,000 people expected here over the next 5 days?
Guess what? There are 100,000 people here over the next 5 days, and I guarantee each one of them has 99 problems on board, but...
The internet's not one of them!
And Saltee Rights Crew Apparel.
Helping us look fly.
If you're a co-host, you get a lot of swag. Look at this. They got the sponsors,
They
got
can
the
hook you up
boat show
too.
name. Anyway, by the way, if you all want some of this swag, contact Dave. Tell him I said to give it to you for free.
Shout out to Dave.
All right, I'm going to give you some boat show stats.
Yes.
Over 5 days, there's going to be 100,000 people.
Yep.
There are, how many boats are there?
712.
712 boats.
Yep.
There are going to be 18 seminars, which no one's going to. You ever go to these seminars and you're like, oh, I got to get there early, and you're like one of 3 people. Everybody else is at the bar with the champagne. There are 647 exhibitors.
Yes.
All right. Now, this show's a little different because it's a little smaller than the past years, and a lot of people are blaming COVID on that, but I actually think it's because all the damn boats are sold.
Could be.
I mean, they're not going to put new boats in here that aren't for sale.
No.
But anyway, it's a good show. What's the biggest boat?
We have Bold at 279 feet.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It is a big and bold statement.
I actually checked this boat out online. This is an insane charter boat. I mean, it's stupid insane, and this boat's got a helicopter. It's got boats everywhere and sailboats.
All the tech
Take a look at some of this video. They do it right. And you know, I run a charter boat, but
You do.
you know, I don't run a charter boat like that. How much is it?
Per week it's about $875.
All in, you're probably looking at over $1 million.
more.
So I would expect it to be spot on. Now, just for the record, you could charter Renaissance for 10 weeks for that kind of money. All right?
Nice plug.
Nice plug. Okay, what else? Give me some other stuff.
Well, we have some other special premieres here at the show.
Premiere means the boat's never been seen anywhere else?
It hasn't.
Okay,
Some
which
of them.
ones are they?
Boston Whaler, the 420 Outrage Anniversary Edition.
Okay,
the 50th
Boston Whaler.
anniversary.
For a 42 footer? Okay, by the way, if you buy a Boston Whaler, you can keep it for like 5 years and then sell it for more.
There you are.
They don't sink. It's crazy. Next.
There we are. The Jaguar 36 Offshore Fish.
Okay, so we're talking about a couple of center consoles because obviously these big boats need tenders.
Yes, they do.
The Jaguar 36, how big is that?
36 feet.
36 feet.
There you
How
are.
fast does it go?
It goes up to 90 miles an hour.
Okay, all we need now is to put a 90-mile-an-hour tender in the hands of a deckhand. I looked it up. The damn thing's $600,000.
Yeah.
Now this isn't a tender, but I kind of like this. Berger makes big classic boats. I love Berger, but they brought a brand new Berger here. How big is it?
Do you have it on your notes, though?
I don't have notes. It's 50 feet long. Okay, 50 feet. And nobody's ever seen it before except in Wisconsin and anybody who's trying to buy it. But that is also a premiere at the show. Am I missing anything?
We did have a death in the community. Trayvon Darling, he was a 21-year-old out celebrating his birthday on a charter boat
in
with his
Miami.
friends and family, and they were on their way back at around 9:30 p.m. and he ended up either slipping or jumping off. And unfortunately was pronounced dead at the hospital after he was retrieved, but his captain did turn around to get him. Guests jumped in the water, but unfortunately Trayvon was pronounced
If you guys
dead
watch
at
the show, you know when stuff like this happens, I don't go right in and analyze everything that everybody did right or wrong. Right now, what we want to say is our condolences to the family and friends. It's a tragedy. You go out on a charter boat and you expect to have a good time, and this happens.
It is.
When things settle down, we'll get more involved in it. Unfortunately, the family is already trying to assess blame. And
Yeah.
I guess there's going to be a lot of questions on who's actually liable for this or not. We'll talk about that another time. Before we go into best of show, I know that Bold's the biggest, but the boat that caught my heart was a Feadship. I don't know what it is with Feadships.
Something about Feadships.
Take a look at this Feadship. This boat was just launched, and it is, how big is it? It is 252 feet long, and it's called Boardwalk. Now, all of you in the yachting industry know that the first one was the Westport 164. It's awesome. Now, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. I was just talking to the crew from Boardwalk, and they're like, oh, I said, I love your boat. They go, oh, you mean the new one? I'm like, you're kidding. This thing was just launched and the guy's building a bigger one. So this one's actually for sale. Crazy.
You are.
Okay, best of show.
Best of show was the Ocean Alexander's 35R. Took it home.
Congratulations to Ocean Alexander for their 35R.
Yep.
I'm guessing that it's 35 meters. That makes it about, what, 140,000 feet? I don't do good with meters.
116.
116, close. Anyway, so the best of show wasn't the biggest.
Nope.
It's a
But got
political,
best
by
of
the
show.
way. It really is political, but it's just like the Academy Awards. But anyway, congratulations to Ocean Alexander.
Yes.
Next,
Crew Corner.
Crew Corner. Listen, a couple of weeks ago we talked about what to do if you don't get paid. Okay, now I'm going to talk about what to do when you leave the boat, who pays for your departure. I got to go through a couple of things real fast, because I know this is boring stuff. The MLO, which is run by the ILO, has put rules into effect to yachts. If you all remember back in 2013, kind of made them more like, you have to do this, you have to do that. If your boat is under the classification of the MLO, the captain or the boat owner has to pay for your transportation. They not only have to pay for your transportation, they have to pay for food while you're at the airport waiting. They also have to pay you for your wage while you're waiting at the airport, till you get back to where you're supposed to be. Now,
Wherever that is.
there's a point. There's a point where they don't have to pay.
What's that point?
Because you mess up. Okay, it is very clearly defined. If you screw up on board and you do not fulfill your contract, they can deduct your wages to pay for the transportation. So if you fulfill your contract and you do your job, you're getting a ride home. If you're like, oh, I'm going to go to the Med, I'm going to hang out for a week and I'm going to really screw up and then I'm going to get free ticket home,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
Don't
Now,
do it. You'll end up paying for
now,
it.
those are the boats that are governed by those flag states. The U.S. flag yachts, who actually belong to the ILO, which is the International Labor Organization, we belong to that, the U.S., but we don't endorse the MLO portion of the IMO. So it's a tricky situation. So the U.S. flag boats have to follow that, but they do not endorse the MLO. Isn't that crazy?
It is.
And they say they never will. All right, now,
There you go.
there's a couple other things. Regardless of your flag, regardless of where you're at, if you're in a flag state port, you have to follow those rules. So you're flying them back anyway. Okay? The second thing is, if you're commercial, if you're a private yacht, guess what? It's whatever you agree with the captain. There's no law saying that the private yacht has to fly you back to South Africa.
No.
Okay? But if you go to the Bahamas, you go to the Mediterranean, and you're a U.S. citizen or South African, and you screw up, and you're like,
Don't screw up.
the cab's like, get the hell out of here. And you're like, yeah, dude, fly me home. And he's like, no, you screwed up. It's on your nickel.
Just don't
According to the port, because you can't just leave somebody in that country, you are still responsible for flying them out. All right? So you can take it out of their wages, and you have to do it that way. Even private, that's what I'm saying. Private. Commercial, you have to. Private, it's you still have to. Now, I'm just going to say this. Renaissance flies everybody everywhere, don't we? And sometimes I grind my teeth, even for the people that I'm like, "Argh." Sometimes I'm
But you
like,
do it.
listen, I'm flying you back to Chicago. Actually, I don't need to fly you back. A bus will do with,
Any mode of
16
transportation.
stops,
Yep.
okay? It doesn't have to be an airplane. If you're in Boston and you have to go to New York, don't sit there and go, I want my plane ticket. You're getting on, what is that, Amtrak, okay? All right,
Just any
anyway,
way to get
okay, I'm
home.
gonna leave you with this. The easiest way to figure all this out is for the crew member and the captain, when you are sitting down at the interview, you outline everything that needs to be done from the time you get hired till the time you depart the vessel. You get it down in writing so there's no chance of anybody getting it wrong. And
no
by the way,
misunderstandings.
back to the MLO, you don't have to go back to where you came from. You have the option of saying where you want to go, and you negotiate that with the captain. All right, all good yachts are going to fly everybody back and forth because we don't want a bad reputation. I'm just talking about the legal sense. So, wrap it up real quick. Don't screw up and you're getting a ticket home. If you screw up, it's on you, and you got to expect it. Okay, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay, we are at the Oasis Lounge. I'm Doug.
And I'm Christy.
Christy, do your thing. Next week, next week we're going to be back with a whole bunch of other stuff. Choose. All right.